I really put 100% of the organization on the startup mode to start with. Affordability essentially means not low price. It means that this is what the average Indian in the middle class earns, and this is what they can afford for this product category. The issue with most regional brands is they really find it difficult to scale up. And number two, their ability to invest serious marketing at a national level is also limited. We do acquisitions based on what we see as the space we need to occupy in the marketplace to become a stronger FMCG player. Our major investment doesn't go in brand acquisition, but really making the brand much more wider and stronger in the marketplace. Our objective is to get to 5 million outlets within the next 2 to 3 years. Our endeavor has been to really create a business which can be non-seasonal because we carry a very large portfolio. We want to be a large beverage player. We have never said that we want to be a large carbonated soft drink player. I feel you will see the initial stage of building or constructing a global model in the year 26-27, and we will scale up that model in 27-28. The idea is that we will at least be relevant to all the emerging and developing world in 5 years' time.
Our guest today is T Krishnakumar, Director at Reliance Consumer Products. Krishnakumar, or KK as he's known in the industry, is a seasoned FMCG professional with over 40 years of experience. An engineering honors graduate and IIM Bangalore alumni, KK's longest tenure has been with Coca-Cola, prior to which he was with the Murugappa Group and turned around Paris confectionery business. He was handpicked by Reliance boss Mukesh Ambani to set up the group's FMCG business from scratch, which he started out of his house in Bengaluru. Sticking to Reliance's tried and tested disruption playbook, its strategy is affordable pricing as it operates across beverages, branded staples, food, home, and personal care categories. I spoke to KK in the backdrop of a complex landscape that the Indian FMCG sector is navigating in 2026. Balancing affordability with premiumization as consumer demand shows signs of recovery, supported by easing inflation, GST rate cuts, and rural resilience. And very large doses of hyper-intensive competition across categories and an expanding cohort of brand-agnostic Gen Z consumers. In this conversation, we explore KK's strategy of targeting India's 500 to 600 million middle-class consumers, his startup mindset, and RCPL's ambitious expansion plans. From AI-powered food parks to building a global brand in the next 2 years. Listen on. It's Monday, the 16th of February. I'm your host and ET's FMCG editor, Ratna Bhushan. This is Corner Office Conversation. Good morning, KK. So nice to have you on the morning brief. Like we've spoken so many times before, but thank you for taking the time and debuting on our podcast.
Good morning, Ratna. Great to again have a conversation with you. Looking forward to it.
Likewise. Reliance Consumer Products has been in the news every other day for something or the other. You've really shaken up the market. There's so much buzz around the company. I just would like to start with asking you, how are you building the company in a crowded market?
See, well, I think there are quite a few factors which has helped in us being able to see opportunity and build this organization. So as we found the world got out of COVID, we realized that there was a small change in the structure of the consumer with a lot of people moving towards affordability. The big advantage we enjoyed was that most of the companies operating in the consumer space were targeting more the upper middle class, with middle class consumers being drawn in through aspirational moves and not really with products which are essentially targeted about with the large middle class in India and possibility of the rising aspiring class which was wanting to move into middle class. This gave us a pretty strong opportunity because take or leave, we are talking about 50 to 60 crore consumers here, 500 to 600 million consumers. That's serious opportunity. And that's how we could get this business started.
I'd like to draw your attention to something which is, again, in this day and age, there is so much focus on speed, agility, quick decision making, especially in a hyper competitive world. Does RCPL see itself as a company with a startup mindset?
Yeah, actually, this has been my passion all through my career. Even in very stable, steady organization, I had always kept 20 to 25% of the organization working on startup mode. In the case of Reliance Consumer Products, I really put 100% of the organization on the startup mode to start with. And so we recruited people, whether they were veterans with 30, 40 years experience or younger crowd with hardly any experience. The one clear mandate to everybody was that you need to be agile, and when you are agile, you are bound to make some small errors, and we are going to be tolerant of that as long as you keep iterating your way to perfection. And that is the startup mode, where you start and then correct yourself as you move on and then reach to perfection over multiple iterations. This was a mandate to everybody, and each one was measured on how much they were doing every day rather than what the outcomes that they were delivering every day. And with at least 5 to 6 to 7 iterations, we have been able to get most of the businesses cracking and starting to show some promise.
I'd like to now steer the conversation towards, the corporate structure of the company. Recently, we all got news that Reliance is restructuring the FMCG business under new RCPL as a direct RIL subsidiary. Is that an indication of standalone IPO?
No, my view is, see, I have always been very conscious and clear that these decisions on IPO structuring, etc., are taken by the promoters or the holders of the company's ownership. I personally believe that from my perspective and from RCPL's perspective, this is great because it allows us to focus very clearly on creating an FMCG business where I think the critical factors for success are slightly different from what is needed as part of the retail business.
Okay. I just want to ask you something about circling back to your previous reply on affordability. What is the strategy behind creating affordable products across multiple consumer sectors at a time when there's a lot of inflationary pressure? How doable is that?
See, actually, it is tough to do, but it is a serious competitive advantage. I think somewhere the words that are used or the connotation affordability has is not very correct. For us, our affordability essentially means not low price. It means that this is what the average Indian in the middle class earns, and this is what they can afford for this product category. And whenever we create a product, we always vet it against 2 to 3 levels of inflation and see how at every level, how do we really manage it. This is a very complex process. The consumer doesn't see it, but for us, it's a very complex process, and we spent the first 18 months to 24 months to create both the structure and the capability to do it, because this needs separate capability, which most companies don't have. So that is why we are confident that we will be able to battle this, and we will, of course, take advantage of any improvements in per capita GDP from time to time for pricing, but we'll always be in the realm of something which people can buy without giving a second thought to their pocket or purse.
Okay. Smaller regional brands which are in just a couple of markets, which are also playing on pricing. We've seen a resurgence of those brands in the past 1 or 2 years. And that's the space where you're competing with. I'd like your views on this so-called resurgence of regional brands and how you see your company playing in this space.
See, I think the resurgence of regional brands have been really enabled by the major companies not looking at the post-COVID situation from a consumer perspective in terms of their ability to spend, in terms of their uncertainties and unsettled status. The issue with most regional brands is they really find it difficult to scale up because scaling up has its own costs and complexities. And number two, their ability to invest serious marketing at a national level is also limited. So which is where we thought we would have the opportunity to play nationally because we had the ability to scale up quite fast, and because it needed resources and we were able to deploy the resources. And secondly, we could really start marketing these brands quite effectively nationally. We are basically consumer centric, so we are trying to take the middle class consumer into confidence and telling them that we have an option for you. So in essence, today's market in the last 2-3 years has been really grown by the regional local players and people like us, and that has helped the consumer a lot, in my view.
Will Reliance continue to look at mid-price acquisitions then? Because most of them have been, small to mid-sized players. So is that a strategy that will continue?
See, it is something which I strongly believe in, and I think we have the endorsement of our chairman, is that you don't pay too much for acquiring brands. So we look at brands which have some residual value, which has some good values associated with the brand, and then it becomes easy for us to contemporize and scale it up, so that our major investment doesn't go in brand acquisition, but really making the brand much more wider and stronger in the marketplace. And we do not do acquisitions just for the sake of revenue or acquisition. We do acquisitions based on what we see as the space we need to occupy in the marketplace to become a stronger FMCG player. So if you see, most of our acquisitions have been on that space. On beverages, it has been Campa. In the case of food, it has been Sill. In the case of confectionery, it has been Toffee Man. All these are very low to mid-range acquisitions, but all of these are now slowly but steadily becoming seriously at least mid-sized brands with pretty serious investment from our side. So I think this is going to be the way forward also for us. We will try organic, and we feel we need to hesitate a bit. We'll look for these sort of heritage brands which we can build.
Have you reached a stage where you feel that you have, covered most of the, headline categories of FMCG and grocery staples, and now you want to sort of consolidate these categories?
See, we have reached a very good position in most of the categories we are talking about, from staples to beverages to food to HPC. All of these are at various stages of evolution in terms of geographical presence or portfolio presence. I believe now the opportunity for us is to really accelerate most of these categories, because I feel the opportunity in the marketplace with the investments of the major companies and the regional guys is for the market to grow at breakneck speed. So I feel the next stage will be accelerating most of the categories. Consolidation, I see, is a few years away.
Will premiumization play a role for Reliance Consumer Products? A lot of FMCG companies have been talking about, high margin premiumization and, introducing high price products, high margin products only for quick commerce channels or select, modern trade. So is that something that you're looking at too?
So it is obviously a very important part of our future. But for now, we are going to concentrate on building the route to market. See, as of now, we have reached about 1.5 million outlets, and our objective is to get to 5 million outlets within the next 2 to 3 years. Once we get to 5 million outlets, then when you premiumize, you really get the full benefit of premiumization as a company, while the consumer gets higher quality products. Because building the route to market for just as premium products is not a viable option in India. So I feel the first stage is to really get this done, get good penetration, and then the next step would be to start getting into premiumization of some of the categories. So we will ultimately be in the complete pyramid, starting from premium products, coming down to masstige, and then to mass.
Right. So do we see that journey panning out in the years just begun and over the course of the year?
It will be a very small effort as we start, but it will possibly gather steam, according to me, in year 28-29.
Okay. What is your strategy for, quick commerce versus offline? I know we've spoken about this in the past, but has there been a change, or do you want to continue focusing on the traditional retail channels?
See, I always believe that if you want to build a sustainable brand, you need to have a very strong presence in traditional retail or fragmented retail, because these are shops which have lasted the test of time. In spite of all the noise we hear, I think 80 to 85% of every category is actually sold by this channel. So we will continue to solidify that. At the same time, we are not averse to quick commerce. Our presence in quick commerce can be just as a channel without really extra discounting, etc., so that in no way they go ahead and be more competitive than the fragmented trade, at least for our products. This is going to be our approach for quite a few years. We have, if you just click any of the quick commerce channels, we are present, but we don't do what other companies do with them. We concentrate heavily on the fragmented retail.
And what are the timelines of going national? You have spoken about it in the past, but are they all on track, like for Campa and Sale and various other brands?
Yeah, they're very much on track. It's pretty much aligned to whatever we had last. We would pretty much be sort of largely national in most of the categories by March, April of this year. And definitely by the end of the next financial year, we will be truly national in all categories.
Right. And, you spoke about being national by March, April. Last year was a very, like a challenging season, summer season for the industry, for the soft drink industry, obviously, for reasons beyond anyone's control because of the weather. What are your expectations for Campa for this season? Because like you'll be national and hopefully, at least as of now, the weather forecasts do predict. I mean, we will not have early rains this year. So what do you have to say about that?
See, our endeavor has been to really create a business which can be non-seasonal because we carry a very large portfolio. Actually, we are just not dependent on carbonated soft drinks because that is what is heavily weather dependent. We have a huge range of still products. We have sports drinks, we have energy drinks, and we are bringing in iced tea. So our portfolio will help us deseasonalize the business. And most of the lines we have got are very flexible, and they would be able to make many products in the same line. So that is the way we have constructed ourselves. While there will be some impact, but I do not think the impact will be so big that we will get into serious stress. That's the way we have designed ourselves together, and that's the advantage we have. For us, we want to be a large beverage player. We have never said that we want to be a large carbonated soft drink player.
Right. So, KK, there's news that RCPL is building Asia's largest network of AI-powered food parks, right? On a very large, significant investment. What will the core categories be where the food parks will focus on?
See, the core categories are basically three where the food parks will process on. One is the food ingredients, which is the basic materials like rice, atta, oil, etc. The second would be beverages. Beverages as in carbonated, still, hot beverages too. And the third area is food. Food for me is snacks, biscuits, confectionery, chocolates, noodles, culinary products like sauces. And the main reason where we are going for food products is because we are going to operate at affordable prices. So we need to be close to the demand. So we are going to end up having 16 food parks across the country so that our manufacturing facilities are within reach of every demand point.
Right. What is your consumer demand outlook at a macro level, not from a Reliance point of view or an FMCG point of view, but overall across sectors?
See, I think we are going to see a good boom in the demand in the marketplace, driven by this GST too, which is rationalization of the GST towards daily goods which people buy. And also our economy is in a very strong state, and we are continuing to grow at 7+. So between the two, I believe we are reaching a tipping point where there could be a good consumer products boom. And we are very optimistic about the next few years at least.
Right. So, KK, you've worked in a multinational, you led a multinational for so many years, and now you are in an Indian company, which is the largest Indian consumer company as of now. What are the changes? What are the challenges? And what are the pros and cons of this?
There are stark differences between the two. I think the multinationals come into a country with absolute commercial focus. Then they start building a bit of a 360-degree focus to earn the right to operate in that country. And secondly, they are more targeted at extracting value out of whatever markets they operate, rightfully so, to satisfy their shareholders globally. So that is what drives them, which essentially translates into a culture of target versus performance. Whereas working here, I feel super liberated because the vision is slightly larger than just getting into business. It's about ensuring that you go for the opportunity which is called India or Indian consumer market. And so there is no target. You really see how you can maximize that impact. Secondly, you start with a 360-degree view straight away. You don't add it as a build on. So there is lesser structure here than what you would do in a multinational. But the lesser structure helps in a absolute emerging country like India, where patterns are still yet to get established in consumer consumption. There are still consumer latent needs which are yet to surface because of the evolution of the GDP. So I feel this gives a great opportunity to focus on one large country and build a model which will work here. And the beauty of this is going to be that many parts of the world have similar requirements. So if we have a good model here, this model can be replicated in many parts of the world where people are still at this stage of evolution in terms of per capita GDP or civil society. While it is, I agree with you on the one point you made, it was not easy making the transition, but the sheer fact that I'm a very proud Indian helped me in doing this.
What are the ambitions of taking some of your brands global, your RCPL brands global, and how soon is that going to happen?
The ambitions are very, very solid and in place. We have already experimented with some of our offerings in markets, and we have met with reasonably good response. So I feel you will see the initial stage of building or constructing a global model in the year 26-27, and we will scale up that model in 27-28. The idea is that we will at least be relevant to all the emerging and developing world in 5 years' time. That was KK sharing Reliance Consumer Products' vision of democratizing FMCG for India's vast middle class. From startup agility to global ambitions, his strategy reflects a larger story of Indian consumption coming of age. But with deep-pocketed rivals circling and consumer sentiment swinging unpredictably, the moot question is, can affordability alone sustain this growth story? That's it for today. You were listening to this episode on Corner Office Conversation. It was produced by Anirban Chaudhary. Sound designed by Amrit Reggie. Corner Office Conversation is a show where we talk to interesting business and thought leaders from India and the world. Do also catch our flagship podcast, The Morning Brief, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday on your favorite listening platform. This is Ratna Bhushan signing off. Stay tuned.